down there. Now let's get to this. I want to swing you back to the Caribbean, and then we'll cover all the rest of that for you. I know I'm jumping around. Thank you for your patience with this. Doing the best I can, kind of a one-man show here, so thank you for your patience, trying to get to everything for everyone. This is by the time we get into Saturday. Now, here's Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, British Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands. This system, as it develops, is not coming there. It's going to be to the south of here. That is important to point out. Here's Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Nicaragua over toward Honduras, Belize over here. Let me stop it here. This is by Sunday. Now, there's a lot of squiggly lines here. Some are better than others, so that's what I kind of break down, and we're going to get into that in a second. But all the computer models bring this into the Western Caribbean where it should develop. I'm a little more optimistic, just a little, that the bulk of the action tries to stay to the south of Jamaica. Down the road, though, still uncertain. And then it's going to lift up to the north, and then it may swing back toward Cuba and Florida, or it may shoot back more to the west, watching Louisiana. Everyone from Texas and Louisiana back to Mississippi, Alabama, Florida for long term should keep an eye on this, because if the front catches it, by the time we get into Thursday of next week, it could draw it back to the west. We see kind of a tilt in some of these models, so especially Louisiana back to the west in the long term. Let's get to what's going on right now. Thinking of us in the Caribbean, taking you through this. This is the American model. Now this model, I'm going to show you the two best models, the American and European. They are different. The American model will keep this more to the south, and the European model turns it up quicker. Both could work out, maybe a blend of the both as we get down the road. But either way, both doing a decent job with this system. You see here 3 o'clock today, bringing some heavier weather tonight as well over toward the ABC Islands. Here's the tip of Colombia. And still on the backside of this, drawing in some rain and storms, even some scattered storms. St. Kitts and Nevis, we could get some of those scattered showers and storms around down through St. Lucia. Then we get here. Let me stop it here. This is 5 o'clock on Saturday. This is when the winds start to relax in this. Right now, what's happening is Fiona's to the north, and it's actually wrapping around some winds. You're getting a lot of wind shear, and that's when the winds come across and knock off the developing storms. And that's good, because it helps it from developing.
We're getting some breakaway storms that came off Fiona right now.
So once this gets into the Western Caribbean,
7 inches of rain.
So the showers and storms could just build up, which simply means that the system will get better organized. By Saturday, it could be a tropical storm here. Here's Jamaica. This model keeps the bulk of the action just to the south, brings it close to the northern end of Honduras. I'm watching you. Here's Belize, Yucatan, and Mexico. And then if this model were to pan out, this is down the road. This is by Wednesday. So 6 days from now, this could bring a hurricane potentially right about here, Yucatan Peninsula. And then after that, it would be a wait and see what happens. That's more of the western route. Here's the European model. Short term, same thing. Watching my friends Eastern Caribbean, watching the rainstorms Trinidad Tobago over toward the ABC Islands, northern Venezuela over toward northern Colombia. This is by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, taking you out in time and then stopping it here. This is again when it can start to get organized. This is by Saturday evening. Saturday evening, a tropical depression or a tropical storm possible right about here, right on the edge of Jamaica. Now here's the difference between these two models. This one feels a front more so up to the north, and this will start to draw it up quicker. So if this happens, we could have some hurricane conditions. This is still an if, but we could have some hurricane conditions through the Cayman Islands and some tropical storm conditions through Jamaica, and then watching over toward Cuba. And you see, say, Belize, for example, if this were to happen, this would keep it more off to the east and then lifting to the north. And then in this scenario, this would eventually curl up and bring it closer to Florida by the end of next week. Here's what I'm seeing to break it down further for you, trying to just give you all the information I've got. It's going to be a front. So let's just take you through the Caribbean into the Gulf. There's going to be a front or a trough. I don't want to get into too scientific of terms and whatever, but there's going to be a front here. Now, if this front is strong, it's going to grab this system sooner and swing it more to the north, which would be more of an issue for my friends in Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Cuba, and Florida. Still to be determined how strong this front is. If that front is weaker, or it just kind of moves quicker, so we're watching the timing of it as well, so it kind of just digs away quicker, then that would allow it to go more west, so we'd be watching over toward Belize, the Yucatan, and then eventually, potentially, the northern Gulf, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Everything does try to kind of curl it back at the end, but I just want to show you what I'm seeing with those steering conditions down the road. Still to be determined long term. With that said, in the short term, and this is important, these are the spots that should do some initial hurricane prep. So there's still some question marks about how quickly it's going to develop, but safety is my number one concern. And then everyone's rushing out, or everyone's trying to protect their property, friends, family, animals. I know how it goes. So with that, these areas should take some at least initial steps, which means supplies, kind of thinking what you might need to do if a storm, a bigger storm, were to come your way. Still Jamaica, although a little more optimistic today that hopefully this stays just to the south. Cayman Islands taking some initial hurricane preps, western Cuba, and then over toward the Yucatan and Mexico south, through Belize and even northern Honduras. So it could at least be, say this were to take more of a trek to the west, there could be some tropical storm conditions brushing by parts of Honduras. So these spots here, this is important. I know this is not the fanciest of maps. You know I'm not the fanciest of weathermen. With that, this is the most important map I'm showing right here because safety, my number one concern. The purples popping up, we could get 4 or 5 inches of rain. Localized flooding will be possible. And then Jamaica, as far as the rain is concerned, by the way, Haiti, Jacmel, it'll stay mainly to the south. Jamaica, it just depends on when it starts to curl up. If it curls up, yeah, we could have some tropical storm to hurricane conditions, but if it curls a little more late, a little later, I should say, that would keep most of the rain away. So right on the edge of heavy rain as of now, as we work our way into Jamaica. Now, regardless of where this system goes, as it marches into the Western Caribbean, lifts up into the Gulf, these brighter colors here, very warm water. 91 degrees Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius or better. The warm water is very deep, and that is going to provide a lot of energy. That's another reason why this system will flare up as it works its way into the Western Caribbean. All right, let's switch to Fiona. This will be the last we get of Fiona. This name will be retired at the end of the season, no doubt. Still thinking of our friends in the Turks and Caicos, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Guadalupe, as this we're still dealing with the cleanup, obviously, huge aftermath in spots. Now, this will lift near Bermuda tonight, then up toward Canada. Eastern Canada, Nova Scotia, especially even Newfoundland. This is going to be potentially one of the top 5 storms of all time on record. 4 winds. Coastal sections, a surge. If you have any evacuation orders, heed those. We're going to see the sea level rise, crashing waves, the forward speed of the system. It is a serious situation for coastal sections and even inland. Widespread power outages here. Now, Bermuda, I'm thinking of you. We got a 21-mile stretch here that is going to get some impacts. I'm going to get into the wind field for Bermuda in just a second, but look how close this is, and that's why we're prepping for the hurricane conditions. If it were to nudge just a few miles, that makes a big difference. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, so the worst weather after midnight through the first half of tomorrow in Bermuda, then it moves away.
Bermuda's not far from Bahariterra. Bahariterra is going to get slammed by this hurricane.
They move faster forward speed. Look at this crashing ashore in eastern Canada. Thinking of my friends there, and then lifting in. This is by Saturday evening, lifting more to the north. Very strong winds even over toward St. John's, St. Albans. We could have some winds though along the coast gusting to about 100 miles per hour. Here's the wind field. Tropical storm force winds in this yellow shading you're seeing here. Hurricane force winds in the red shading you're seeing. So taking you out, let me stop it here. This is 3 a.m. I mentioned that overnight tonight, that's when we're going to have the worst weather in Bermuda. So overnight, it's going to be very rocky. You'll hear it. You're going to hear those sounds. They're especially scary at night. That's always concerning. But the core of the hurricane winds hopefully are just to the west, but very close. You see the red shading here. And then this is going to quickly lift out of there by tomorrow morning. It'll lift out.